A zaraz trochę historii.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Comrades, your podcast all about the FX show, The Americans. And I am one of your hosts, Jesse. And joining me today is my partner in all things Americans, and of course, Bruce Springsteen. But I have a question for you, Allie.
Yes, Jesse.
How do you solve a problem like Martha? I stole that from the AV Club.
You're so cute.
We are talking
Martha.
Martha.
Oh,
Oh, such a thing. The Rat. This is
now, you think it would? Oh, go.
the
Sorry.
6th episode of this 4th season. Go ahead. Ask.
So do you think they titled it The Rat for Martha with the FBI or for the rat in the bag for the sample?
Well, as you well know, because you probably talked to your good friend, the showrunner, Joel, that I think this was the brilliance of the double meaning.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah, because first off, in no particular order, how wonderful is when when they go to our favorite chemist,
Yes.
saying we need another sample. What?
Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me? I just love that. And then, oh, well, I'll find you something else that's bad. And oh gosh, it was just
Oh, you
hilarious.
never expected that when that bag opened. You never expected that.
And Williams got the little, hey, they can get a sample from this dead rat in a jar.
Yeah.
Which I do not think is ever going to be really a great selling item on the stores. Okay, this was not a lot of subplots. This was all about, Philip makes the decision. I don't care. I'm worried about Martha. I'm bringing her in.
Right. Totally on his own. Without anybody.
Yes.
And of course, then what we saw from, where that segues to when, first Gabriel gets there and he's telling him about, why he did what he did. And then he just, tells him that she's seen him.
Yeah.
And that just.
And we, of course, have known that for a while. But I was fooled.
Fooled? How are you fooled?
Well,
Jesse?
I will tell you how I was fooled. I truly was sitting there going, okay, this was all part of a plan because Gabriel was so charming. Oh, Martha, it's wonderful to finally meet you. Clark has told me so much about you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I am so glad to see you. And, and I'm like, okay, this is a plan. And then when she goes to make herself tea, what the F are you doing?
Right.
What? And she's seen you? What? Just
like his head was going to explode.
Oh, totally. And he's like, what is going on? And then, jumping ahead, Elizabeth, I think, was more upset that Philip had shown his true face to her, to Martha, than she was about this S training or her fighting.
No, this was the ultimate betrayal.
Yes.
This, to Elizabeth, this is the ultimate betrayal. And, we talked a little bit about, you know, in the last episode, how it ended, especially,
Yes.
and how, Elizabeth kind of always having this jealousy about Martha, and we've also wondered, and it was noted in this episode that, Philip Clark, whichever you want to call him at the time, it's been doing this with Martha for 3 years. We really never knew
Yeah.
how long it was in this,
Right.
thing. And so now you hear it's 3 years. So, you're thinking of Elizabeth, and it's 3 years now. And we know how the last episode ended, with her just seeing his concern for Martha and his
Yes.
thing, and what she felt like she had to exert herself onto him, physically, and, as to exert her power. And now the look on her face as she comes dressed, also, like, as Gabriel, like, as you saw how Gabriel was playing it, he or she is about to come in being Clark's sister again,
Right.
and like, we're just helping you out, Martha, and then the look on her face when she turns that into that kitchen and turns around and sees,
He's not in a wig.
oh my God, it was like, for it was like me, like I think for the first time, it's like, this is my husband's lover. This is actually my husband's wife. This is
Yes.
actually real competition for me. That's what Elizabeth has been playing with the last couple of episodes, towards Martha. This is actually a real threat to my husband, which she never really looked at him like that before.
I totally agree with you, Allie. And in fact, it is this. I have not heard it. Obviously, I'm not in that kind of marriage, but you hear stories about people of a lot of money, or or like, let's go to The Sopranos, where you know they end up having an understanding. Tony
Right,
and
right,
Camilla, don't embarrass me.
right,
Right?
right.
I know you have needs and you're going to do this. Or, you would think in some marriages, like if the husband or the wife traveled a lot, like eh, one of the things I was at, not as quite a fun a show as you were at last night, but my good friend Sarah Hickman was playing with two other songwriters, and the three of them were on stage, and they talked about that, there's a code of the road that if you see someone fooling around on their spouse, you don't say anything about it because it's on the road, and it's kind of
Oh, it's like that old expression, like, if it's outside of your zip code, you're okay.
right, exactly. Or what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And so I think Elizabeth had this, you know, what you do for work, you do for work. And the person when you're in that get up, whatever you have to do. Like, you remember, she was pushing him, the underage girl, a couple of years ago,
Yup.
which was so
That whole
uncomfortable.
thing was just crazy.
Yes. And we do know, like, Elizabeth had a true lover, that young
Oh,
African American guy,
yes.
a couple of seasons,
She
that
adored him.
she adored him, and he ended up sacrificing himself to help the
Literally.
cause.
Literally
Yes.
becoming a firing range.
Yes. And so when she sees Philip, Clark, but in his Philip face, it is, as you said, the ultimate betrayal.
Yes.
And and then he's like, I think I need to stay here. And she's like, well, it's your shift. We need to go home. This is make believe, Philip. We need to go home where our children are so I
Yeah,
can make Korean food.
that was hilarious.
Mhm.
And again, what you see now, you know, listen, I read something yesterday, on on one of these blogs. It just was,
Yeah.
it happened to come up because, I might have some Google alerts about the Americans for some reason.
Yes.
And so in this one article, this one blog or whatever it was, I read that, you know some people feel that there's so many like, subplots within this, and how are they gonna tie things up, or how are they going to keep this where they need, but whatever. And when you bring up the Korean thing, it's just so interesting. As we talked previously, we still don't know where it's going,
No
but
idea.
yet it's playing this role, because here we go. This whole episode had nothing to do with Mary Kay, had nothing to do with Elizabeth, visiting this woman. And here she is, like you said, making, as she called, rubbery fake chicken,
Yes.
you know?
Right.
And it's Korean. So, like, they're keeping that story, and they're keeping it out there right now. And
Yes.
it's significant. It's going, I know this. I mean, okay. I don't know this, people, as Jesse likes to allude to, some people I may or may not know on the Americans.
Yeah.
I don't know this for a fact, so this is just what I'm saying, in just being me. It's significant. This Korean thing is going to be significant, people.
Oh, absolutely. And the um they, and we really thought, at least I did, that a lot of this season would be about taking care of Pastor Tim, but that's kind of put on the back page.
Yes.
Thanks to Paige and everyone's working, that does not seem to be what they're concerned about. Um,
Uh, I mean, look, it would, listen, with Pastor Tim, I think, um, listen, they could have done they could have assassinated him. They could have done that. There was so many ways they could have just whatever handled it, and they choose not to for a reason.
right,
And as much as I want to believe that reason is my pal Kelly is such a fabulous actor, and he should be on every show.
right,
And he's on a lot of shows right now. It's like his time. Um, I think, again, there's such a, a bigger, there's a bigger reason. There's a bigger reason here.
yeah,
And it's almost, like, even when them touching on these guys, Joel Fields and Joe Weisberg, don't do any, like, it's like, they have a chessboard, and they plan out everything. I would eat my laptop if I'm wrong on this, but I believe in some way or form they have every episode done in some way or form till the end of this show, whether it's season 6, 7, or 8.
yeah.
It's gonna
I
be one of
totally
those
agree.
seasons. I totally do. The end is written, and a lot of the in betweens are tied up already.
Yeah,
And this is how these guys work. They're meticulous. They're good chess players in that sense,
yeah,
and they don't leave you hanging. Every single thing, that you've seen in the first 3 seasons, and now this season, there's never, like in some shows, like, for instance, Bobby is not coming back in the shower a year later. You know
right.
what I mean? There's
Yes.
nothing, everything.
Well, like as David Chase said, he was a fan of, like, it doesn't matter what happened to the Russians in the forest. That doesn't matter. That's not an important storyline. I'm telling this storyline of Tony and his crew. While this one, their philosophy is there is not a wasted word, there is not a wasted character,
That's
and
right.
we're going to go this. I mean, Henry's still angling. We hadn't given up on Epcot, had we?
No. No, but even, like, the whole Nina storyline, like, even
Yeah.
though she's now, somewhere in the ground,
Yes.
or whatever they did with her, and you see everyone else's reaction still at the Residentora,
Yeah.
on this, and in the moods in this, and
Yeah.
it's still playing in a way, it's still playing, and
Yeah.
that's how they do, everybody, it's like 6 degrees of separation. Everyone
Yeah.
is so intertwined. And so when we circle back to Pastor Tim, it's
Yeah.
going to come about. And, it could be, listen, I could be completely out of my mind, which that happens often, but
Yes.
it could be something so crazy, like with this whole moth. We don't know. We
Yeah.
don't know. We
Well,
just don't know.
yeah, and
Because
so
Philip is feeling
yeah.
Philip is feeling. Let's just put it that way. Philip is feeling.
I
And that in itself has why so many of these things are unfolding, because of the way Philip has become human. He's not this robot anymore. He's not this just trained, agent anymore.
Right.
He's becoming more human.
And I'm gonna get to the FBI in a minute, but I wanted to just they had only a quick scene, but Oleg is talking to Tatatina,
Tatatina,
yeah, about him talking
his
to his
mom.
father, and his mom won't even go to the phone and see
Right.
him. He's worried about her, and then their boss comes in, and we have an
The boss of the
excursion.
Residentora, because I just love saying Residentora.
Yeah, right where he's going.
We have a situation.
Yeah, and she was an FBI, and we need to get her gone.
He
And
didn't even say FBI, I don't think. He
no,
said
I don't think he did. Yeah,
secretary. She's a
yes.
secretary.
And so they're planning to take her to Moscow.
Yeah, okay.
And um, what I find interesting is, and let's just go on the record right now, we're going to repeat ourselves. Allison Wright just kills it every week.
Forget about it.
This week, she's so scared.
Forget about it.
So exhausted. And they deliberately had her mimic Elizabeth's lovemaking scene. She's lifting up.
Oh my God,
She's
absolutely.
doing this. So obviously Philip's pretty good at making getting some booty in a chair.
I
So
mean, let's be real. I mean, and then what she said, I mean, I don't even
I
know if
want
this
to
is
hear
going
it.
to
I
be,
want to feel you inside me.
and then she said something, from what from what I thought I heard, and you might have to edit this out for a couple of reasons. Uh, Besides feel you inside me, didn't she say something about coming inside her?
I did not catch that, but I think you might be right. I mean, she is desperate.
Because they always use condoms.
Yeah, and she's saying also, I understand I've lost my house. I've lost everything, but as long as I'm with you,
Right.
I have a new
But she
home.
thinks it's so, God bless Allison, right? God bless Martha. She thinks it's so simple. We could just go hide out somewhere. They'll never find us. We'll go,
Yeah.
whatever. She doesn't realize that's Moscow
Yeah.
and that he's not coming.
And
She really believes, she doesn't even grasp, even though she knows he's KGB, even though she does this,
yeah.
she's not even grasping. She's just, like, she's
Oh
so
yeah.
in love with him, and she's
She's in
and
shock.
so many women will relate to this.
Yes.
And then when you start to hear, the FBI backstory, it's interesting, and I love how they did it, because it's like almost like a voiceover in a sense, the
Yeah.
way they're doing Stan and them discussing Martha as it's playing out, as you're seeing it in the other
Yeah.
scenes. You know, oh my God, she was married and her husband left her because she was pregnant, but she had an abortion in
Right.
1964, and all Stan wants to say
It was
is
illegal.
it was illegal.
Yeah.
When what's his name's face was more like poor Martha,
Yeah. He's like,
Dan's like, it's another illegal thing.
yeah. And
And
then, um,
gag,
Chief John Boy,
gag,
yeah, is
what I
going.
call him.
Yes. He like I could have replaced her.
Yeah, but the last line he said, like something like, "She's been here 10 years. That's an awfully long time."
Yeah.
Like, like, is he disbelieving it because of everything with Beeman? Is he like, as you see the next scene over, is he just like, holy, oh my God, that's so much information, that's so much access.
Yes. And he's
Unbeknownst to them, she's only been doing this for 3 years.
right.
They don't know.
And he brings up the fact that easiest person to plant that pin.
Right, it totally clicks. But
Yes.
but he was asked that, episodes ago, about Martha, and and no, because I think it was Stan who asked him, even before Stan really got onto this Martha thing.
Yeah. It was so interesting. And then um, there was a little bit of denial, both in Martha's case and their case, but we'll stick to them, where Frank goes to Stan, or
Gabriel.
When they're in the FBI office and one of them says to the other, maybe she really is sick.
Right.
Maybe she's off somewhere with her married
In
lover.
a hotel room.
Yeah.
Oh, but I love how they are like. I love how they're in the squad room area discussing some of this, and then they come up with, we need to check death certificates, and then like the next thing with John Boy. Well, did you do this? Death certificates? Well, it's like unbelievable. Like
Yeah.
to think of it, and this is also 1983 as we're finding out, right?
Yes.
And so it's not like how people watch all these shows now and it's like click click click, it's
Right.
a much it's a much longer
Yes.
process.
Well, and
And I have to believe though,
yeah, they told the lab, hurry up on the. They know it's a rush, right, for the fingerprints.
exactly, but I just need to think that, and I think a lot of people out there might agree, you know Clark, Philip, Elizabeth, their whole thing,
Mm.
they don't get caught. They're not that
Right.
people. They're not that loose. They're not that
Right.
sloppy. And so when they started to do these background checks on dead people, and there was there was two alive, a lawyer in
Mm.
D.C. and then an older person, and then they would go. I have to believe though, because when they were established their identities when season 1 and season 2, when they did flashbacks,
Yeah.
and they were given them, that this was handled. You
Yes.
know, this was handled, and it's going to be interesting, to see. Because was it a dead person they took the identity? Is this in 1983 the first cases of stolen identity? Who knows?
Yeah.
Who do we know?
Yeah.
But it's very let's talk, like we digress a minute. Let's just, as two fans for a second.
Yes.
This episode was exciting, Jesse. It was
Yes.
exciting, but terrifying, and really kind of like uh, 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 you know, and then being you and being me and being very invested into the show and into our podcast and into everything.
Yeah.
Like I'm like even to the point like, so I go back an episode or two when when Gabriel got sick and the whole
Mhm.
cane and him not being able to move well, was that part of segueing up to this so he couldn't chase Martha?
Yeah.
Like all these things start rapping in my head and I'm like exploding, and I think it's so deliberate in a good way on the on Joel and Joe and the whole writer, the whole everybody else. It's such a deliberate thing, you know what I mean? That
I
they're
do think
doing.
that. And I have a question. Did you I am not sure what they can do for Martha. I do not know of a way Martha can get out of this. What are you thinking?
Well, I found it very interesting, and you and I touched on this in our last podcast. I found it very interesting when quote unquote Clark, went to tell Martha that he had to go out,
Yeah.
and she was such in a heavy sleep that he was concerned and looked at her bag, and the first thing obviously he pulls out of the value.
And to see, did she, has she overtaken over,
I did. Did
much?
you not for a moment there? Did you wonder if this
Oh,
was the end?
absolutely. I absolutely did that. She,
That it just ended right there. Martha
yeah,
just ended right there.
she had killed herself
And
because
how are
she
they going to
had
deal with
gone
the?
back to, well, maybe they don't know who I am. She was really thinking hard about this.
Well,
And
obviously she believes that
yeah,
because as we saw in the coming attractions, are they tapping her phone, or did she actually call the FBI saying, I didn't want a part of this, I didn't want any of this, you know
I
we
don't know. Yeah.
right, and but if she would have, like, I started going like, okay, oh my god, she just took too many, she killed herself, whatever it was,
Mhm.
and now her apartment's been swept, they can't just put a body back there. What are they
Right.
gonna do? It's like the whole thing is, again, it's just spot on, but the way
Yes.
it, they've, everything is kind of vacillating, between this and between that, and it's just amazing. You know what I mean?
Yes, I
You know, amazing.
do. So the guys, there you've already talked a lot about the FB's trying to figure out who this is. They, I think they've done a great job of setting up. Of course, they went to her office, to her house right away when she called out sick. You know?
Right. It's kind of funny though,
Yeah.
the way they looked at each other, and it was like we're gonna go to her house when she calls up sick. It's like, this is not, a situation comedy, obviously, or even a comedy drama type thing,
Yeah.
which, where, it almost would have been like so priceless. And this is how you can tell. And this
Yeah.
is how you can tell what's about to happen, because it would have been so priceless if Philip, Clark, whomever, told her, you need to go back to your house no matter what and be
Right.
there. And if she would have just answered the door, they would have been blown. And it would have been an easy way to tell if everything that he
Yes.
felt was correct. By them not doing that and having, like as Gabriel said, have a return to work, have a return to, by them not like just shoving it in their face or having them find her registered at a hotel, whatever it may have been, shows you just how, much Martha is no longer going to be. Well, we'll leave it at that. I hope,
Yeah.
in what way is she no longer going to be? Because they could have done that very easily.
Hmm.
They could have just put her right back there and said, just act normal. They could have.
So,
They could have. She's been
yes.
this good all along.
Right. They could
From
have.
the, from what we know, it could be a year that she's known his true identity.
Hmm.
It
Yeah.
looks like.
Absolutely. Hey, there is a connection this episode to your favorite episode of all times.
You do know it. It's Betty.
I was going to go with Joshua Brand, is the writer of this episode, and he wrote "Do Male Robots Dream of Electronic Sheep?"
My favorite thing to ever say, besides Resident Torah, is "Do
Yes.
male robots dream of electronic sheep?"
Yes.
Of course. I didn't even realize, you know what? I'm behind. I didn't realize he did this episode.
Yes.
But I thought you meant Betty is in that episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's who Elizabeth showed her true identity to,
Right.
right before she killed her.
Yes.
And with Betty's famous last, you think you're doing good. You think this is a good thing you're doing. You think you're going to make change. You think what you're doing is going to matter.
Mm-hmm.
When Elizabeth showed her herself.
Yes. Good point. Very nice.
Yes. I
Yeah.
mean, that's, so like you kind of go back. Elizabeth's done it too, but Elizabeth then was Elizabeth and just,
Yeah. It took care of
off,
it.
just offed her.
Yes. Yeah. She's not going to leave things kind of,
No.
that isn't what
But
she does.
you know what's interesting? I just literally thought of this. You know how much we've been talking about Philip becoming more of a human, so to speak.
Right.
And Elizabeth too, in showing this kind of broken wife, kind of a little,
Mm-hmm.
is a real interesting dynamic too. We thought we saw it. We thought she was being genuine at first when we saw it when she was trying to engage with Paige early in last season, with the whole Pastor Tim and the school and all that stuff when she was trying to engage in it. When in fact, we realized that it wasn't so much to engage with Paige, but to
Mm-hmm.
keep an eye out. But I think now, and what you're really seeing in Elizabeth is, um, this jealousy, and
Mm-hmm.
as we discussed last week, what's kind of fun also in all this, if you like a little National Enquirer here on your podcast, so to speak. We could get a little silly, but like, is Carrie, as she's, pregnant with, Matthew's baby, looking at Allison Wright and their scenes, and has a little jealousy, people. Do,
Yes.
maybe, you know, maybe there's a little jealousy there.
Yeah.
I'm just being silly, Jesse.
Well, this is a complicated relationship, and and I don't. Who knows what they're thinking of? But I do know that we got to talk about Martha calling Gabriel's bluff and just leaving. Thank goodness um, Philip unloaded her gun, right?
But Martha's gun's on the move. Where's
Yes,
Martha's gun going?
yes, I have no
Is
idea.
that another way they're gonna set her up? Because do you remember you said it to me last week? You
Yeah,
said to me when Stan saw that and he was telling Amador, not Amador, Adderholt, when he was telling Adderholt about his
yeah.
findings besides the Kama Sutra, that he found the gun and he said, but I already knew about that.
And
So
how cool was it, before I forget, that all of a sudden they start going, maybe the agent died to get the heat off Martha.
oh oh
And there was a light bulb above their heads.
app, you saw it. Ding 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 ding.
Yes.
Ding 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 ding. You
Which I'm glad to see, because you want the FBI to be portrayed as not idiots, right? And so this shows they're
Oh, was that
quick.
really a question?
It makes for a better show. Um, so Martha's leaving. She calls his bluff. I'm gonna scream because I know you are KGB. And I'm a little tired, if I was Martha, of everyone. I promise. I promise. I promise. Okay, right now your promise doesn't mean squat. Quit saying I promise.
But did you see the look? This is the other thing in this. Did you see the look on Gabriel's face? Because to me, it was like another, oh my god, he told her that too?
Yes. Oh,
Oh
no
my
doubt.
god? Like,
No doubt.
what else did he tell
Yeah.
her?
How much of this mess am I going to have to clean up?
Right, like that was the look on Frank Langella's face. He was like, "Are you kidding me?
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Totally agree.
Enough already, Clark.
Yes.
Enough."
Uh,
Ay, 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 ay.
yeah,
But
exactly.
Martha, again, let's try to let's think about this for a minute. So Martha's gun's on the move, as I've heard it being said the last few days.
Yeah.
And again, you tie back to Beeman making that comment that, oh, I already knew that.
Yes.
So is this an FBI registered gun? When she was dating what's his name? When she was really close with Chris Amador,
Mm-hmm.
is it something? Is there like, are we gonna see a flashback of keep this for safety and Stan knew they went to a gun range? It's registered. We don't know,
No,
but
we don't.
obviously they touched on it last time that Stan knew about it, and now what can that be used for? Like, are they going to now? And now, oh, now that I'm thinking and I'm processing it more, now that we hear her phone call and those coming attractions, I never wanted this, I never wanted this. Like, was her gun used in something? Are they blaming her? I mean, there's just it's a little too much in a good way, people. This is a
Yes.
good thing. This
Yeah.
is smart TV.
Yeah, it truly is, because I'm sitting there going, I have no idea. I don't see how Martha can get out of this alive. Because I think it's going to come down to Martha either is going to die.
Or Elizabeth is going to take her out.
Well, that's true. Or that,
No, you put that aside and put that aside on a little
no,
note in your liner there.
is this an official Alley prediction?
Yeah.
Okay. I will write that down. All right. Because she knows too much, and she could, um, if she spots Clark and they start finding him out and doing things, and now if I'm Martha, I am going straight to, well, no, as I say that, I think like, okay, the best thing to do, go talk to,
Gad.
yeah, go talk
Homeboy.
to Gad. Go tell him, saying, even if I have to go to jail, at least, I was duped, and try to find, some help. But she's in love and she's
Yes.
scared.
And I gotta ask you this.
Okay,
Again, thoughts are randomly coming, as you say certain things,
sure,
You know, she's in love, right? And we
right.
and we've discussed this, and her and Clark, and and Elizabeth and theirs. Do you think the betrayal and the look of everything on Elizabeth's face was okay? How do I phrase this? Basically, as you were just talking, and my mind started thinking, this is where I went.
Okay,
Elizabeth's husband, uh, 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 when he was Clark and doing his job with Martha,
yeah.
you know what I mean? It's one thing. But now that he has an identity and he showed it, I think that was the first time that he's kind of been unfaithful to her.
Oh, absolutely.
You agree?
Yeah.
Okay. So
And then
I'm
all of a
sorry
sudden,
that we jumped around a little
no, no,
bit, but
no, and
sometimes, guys, when you're talking like this,
right.
things
And
just pop into your head.
and I also think, now Martha is actually jealous of Elizabeth.
Oh, well, you saw her.
Yes.
How long have you worked with her?
Yeah.
Are you with her?
Yeah.
Are you
What's
this?
yeah. And wisely, Clark's like, oh yeah, that's my real wife. Yeah.
Yeah.
Geez. Oh. Um. And we still have plenty of episodes left. Great stuff.
There's never enough.
Absolutely. Um. Anything else we need to cover?
Yeah, we could talk forever, but I mean,
Okay.
I think we covered the rat a little bit.
Yes.
We covered that and how they did that. We covered the resident tourist
Yeah.
scene a little bit. Martha, Martha, Martha.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I think I guess we're gonna have to wait and see just how far you know Clark slash Philip is really willing to go with this.
Yeah.
It's really willing to go. I think we'll see.
Hmm.
But it was Allison Wright beyond
Yeah.
Allison Wright's beyond in this episode.
Absolutely. Uh,
All right,
how would you rate it, Allie?
I'm gonna give out of 5,
1 to 10.
1 to 10 today. Was it always 1 to 10?
Yes, it was.
Oh, then I'm going big. I'm going 9 Marthas. Oh, I messed that up.
Go ahead.
I'm going 9 rats.
Yes. I'm a little tougher judgment. I'm only going to give it an 8, but I'm going to give it 8 chewy tofu in Korean food.
I love
Uh,
it.
yes, really good stuff. Allie, where can they find you?
Best place would be on Twitter at A Forever New York Girl. That's A, the number 4, EVANYGIRL.
Yes.
And Jesse, where can
I
they
am
find
at
you?
Jesse Jackson DFW. And the show Twitter is, do you have it right in front of you?
It's at Comrades
SMG.
SG
SMG.
SMG. Yes,
Yes.
it's at Comrades SMG.
Yes, and we
I have an email also.
yes, go ahead.
It's Comrades SMG at gmail.com.
We would love to get feedback. We drop,
Questions.
yes, comments, anything you want us to cover about. We'd love to do that. We have we released 3 episodes right in a row to catch us up. So now then we'll be doing one every week, and we appreciate you listening. Um, so I'm gonna end with this.
I have a good idea when you're done. Just remind me.
Okay. Martha is saying, We swore we'd travel, darling, side by side. We'd help each other stay in stride. But each other's lover's steps fall so differently. I'll wait for you, and if I should fall behind,
Will you wait for me?
exactly. And I'm not sure if Clark's gonna be able to do that for her.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
All right, Allie, thank you as always. This is a blast.
Always.
We have fun tomorrow night.
Thanks,
I will
darling.
be there in spirit. Bye.
Bye.
We hope you've enjoyed this show. This podcast is part of the 80s Reboot Overdrive channel on Southgate Media Group. You can follow us on Facebook on the 80s Reboot group page. We're also on Twitter and Tumblr at 80s Reboot. We invite you to check out all the wonderful podcasts and blogs available at southgatemediagroup.com. And thank you for reliving the 80s.